What's up, influencers? Welcome to another live stream here on this Saturday morning. And today we are going to be talking about So, without further ado, I want to introduce my guest very soon here. Probably one of the best experts when it comes to thumbnails, looking at the data, design, looking at the follow analytics. We're going to be talking about all of that right now, and we're going to be helping you guys get more views on your videos because this is Video Influencers, where we're helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online videos. Let's get this started.
This video is brought to you by VidIQ, the #1 Chrome extension for YouTubers looking for on-point data analysis, research resources, and enhanced video creator tools. Start getting more views in less time today by signing up for free at vidiq.com/influence. That's vidiq.com/influence.
There you go, you guys. We are helping you build your influence, income, and impact here on Video Influencers. And that's why we're going to be talking about mastering thumbnails. If you guys are new to this channel, this is Video Influencers, so make sure you guys subscribe. As you guys know, we are helping build your influence, income, and impact with online videos. That is the co-founder, Sean Cannell, and myself. So, I want to introduce our next guest. Actually, the marketing genius behind VidIQ. His name is Jeremy Vest, and he not only is behind VidIQ, but also the co-founder of Video Marketing World. A very smart guy, and I've learned a lot from him. And in fact, I've been to his event. So, Jeremy, why don't you chime in here and introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you've done and what we're going to be talking about today.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Love your channel. I'm glad to be here. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, I've been in YouTube basically since YouTube started in about 2006 or 7 is when I started. I've worked with 25 of the top 100 brands in America and hundreds of creators over the last 10 years. And my customers have over 5 billion views. So I've been doing this a long time. I'm like the old man of YouTube.
Hey, you and I both. I've been on here 10 years, but I know that, like in terms of being in videos, that maybe not on for 10 years, but you've been behind the scenes, which some powerful stories you've shared with me, but glad to have you on. Anything else you want to mention? Specifically, let's just talk real quick about your event, Video Marketing World, before we jump into thumbnails.
Yeah, Video Marketing World is in Dallas, Texas, August 23rd and 24th next month. So it's about 26 days away. And it's really cool. It's a small event, but it's a powerhouse of the attendees that are coming. And people like you and Sean are speaking this year. It's going to be really exciting. A lot of LinkedIn. Really, it's the place to be for people to grow their business with video. That's really our mission, and our message is to help creators or businesses or business-minded people to come learn how to maximize their potential with video. And that's really what we're all about.
Yeah, and what I can tell you is I've heard a lot about your event way before I attended last year. A lot of great things, a lot of great speakers, a lot of great attendees. You know, it's one thing to have a lot of speakers, but it's another thing to have not just attendees, but, other people in the industry, especially business people. As you know, there's a lot of events like VidCon and other industry conventions where people go. Sometimes it's like a fan event. This is not a fan event, and if you go there, not only are you going to get value from the speakers. Hopefully you get value from Sean and I. We will be there. We want to meet you guys, but you'll have so many valuable conversations with other people attending. So definitely go check it out. We'll put all the links down below. Say hi to Gabby. She's in the comments area. Gabby, if you could put the links down to Video Marketing World down below, we would love that. But let's get into thumbnails. So you guys know there's 3 things I've been talking about more than anything this year. It almost sounds like we're going back to basics, but because YouTube's algorithm is so powerful, that's actually what's happening. Number 1, you got to have a great video. Right? You got to have content that people actually want to watch that's delivering some kind of value. Secondly, you have to have a title that's going to represent what's in the video and it's going to interest people and it's going to get people curious about what is in it. But additionally, probably one of the most important factors that a lot of people miss out on or maybe stop, they shortcut themselves, is the thumbnail. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Jeremy, I'm going to go ahead and get those slides ready for you, but why don't you just go ahead and give a little history behind what you do with thumbnails, the history behind your experience there, and the power of obviously data analytics, as well as, like how VidIQ fits in as well.
Sure. So yeah, I've been really focused in on thumbnails for the last decade. And, it's cool that my customers have billions of views, but how did they get there? And like you said, those 3 things, Benji, basically having content people want to consume, having great searchable titles, and thumbnails. I think thumbnails would be the second or third most important part of the entire creator journey process, right? So I've literally done hundreds of multivariate tests on thumbnails over the years. And what you're going to learn today is my research. It is what we've learned. It's also pretty cool. We have a lot of data with VidIQ that we've had 51,000 videos we looked at, and there's a lot of this data is correlated to that research. So VidIQ is a really powerful tool to research how your videos are doing. It's a powerful tool with a channel audit to see how you're doing, what's working, what's not, and what's broken, what you need to fix, as well as all of the keyword research.
Yeah, and by the way, I've got this slide on there for you, Jeremy, as well.
Thank you. So yeah, jumping right into this, the data you see is from VidIQ, and it's based on 51,000 sources. So if you want to jump right in.
Yep, for sure. And one thing I want to mention here is a lot of people are just starting out today. And that's why this data and the experiences of other creators is so important, because if you're just jumping in today, it's like Picasso painting when he's first starting. You know what I'm saying? like his first painting wasn't a genius. So you need to get a lot of experience and practice. But if you want to master thumbnails, look at the data, right? The data of other creators that are actually crushing it and what's working for them. So let's just jump back into it, because this is one piece of data that I can relate to as a vlogger, and our thumbnails having this aspect to help us get more click-throughs.
Awesome. All right. So this first part I want to talk about is faces. So eyes subconsciously are the window to the soul. And think about this. Nonverbal communication is actually greater than verbal communication. So me moving my hands and, using body language actually happens more than words coming out of your mouth, right? So think about how important it is to use eyes and to use expressions in faces. So it doesn't blow my mind that having 2 people on a thumbnail means you're going to get a lot more views versus no people. In fact, over 65% more views based on our 51,000 videos that we surveyed. 61% more views just on having a big face versus no face. So you definitely want to have a face. And in this example here, you actually are going to see that 2 faces are actually better than 1 statistically. And this is the size of a face you should have. Again, being able to see the whites of your eyes, that is critical. And that is actually, from a subconscious perspective, from a psychological perspective, that means if you can see the whites of their eyes, you can see their expressions and emotions. The second most valuable thing is one face. So if you don't have two people on your video, then you only have one. Then this is a very good example. This is Evan Carmichael's example. We've also found that black, that dominant color, seems to do better than any other color from a dominant perspective. I thought that was really interesting. I did not know that. And I think one of the reasons is just not a lot of people use black right now. So maybe that's what it is. If everyone in your industry uses black, don't use black. You, as Seth Godin says, you need to be the purple cow. You need to stand out. And on the right-hand side, you need to stand out and look different than your competitors.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I want to mention here is being a vlogger, it's the same thing, right? Like faces is a big part. In fact, what I want to do is cut back over to YouTube here. And Jeremy, let me know if you can see this, but my channel is It's Judy's Life. And I want to actually go to our video library and show you that I believe one of the reasons our channel has been so successful is because of the thumbnails. As you can see, all these thumbnails have faces in them. In fact, when something doesn't have a face in it, sometimes it works. Like this one right here. It has a red mark. It says caught on camera. You can't really see a face, but you see a figure. The title is what makes up for that. But sometimes, like here's a great example, gardening with daddy. I would love to think everybody wants to see gardening, but one thing you'll notice, it doesn't have very many views compared to the other videos. But one thing that's missing is that facial aspect, right? The whites of the eyes. And now there's no guarantee that just because you have a face in the thumbnail that it's going to get clicked through. But the point we're trying to make is the fact that faces are key, right? Like it's working for a lot of other people. Now, one thing I'll tell you, Jeremy, I had no idea about the whites of the eyes. That's like completely new to me because we do sometimes have faces that big. And when I think about it, yeah, it does actually work really well, but it's not something that I ever thought of.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, you know, I've been studying this for a long time. One thing I'm learning about studying YouTubers is it's all psychology and mindset.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like you would think it's just about thumbnails and titles, but it's really about the psychological effects of why someone would click on your thumbnail.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys, if you are getting value out of this, hit that like button. You know, we're here to help you guys build your influence, income, and impact with online videos. So we do appreciate the engagement. We're going to go ahead and move on. So the one thing is you got to look at what's working for other channels. You know, the one other thing I want to add here, Jeremy, is in addition to just having a face in there and the whites of the eyes, which by the way, I noticed that we can see the whites of your eyes right now. I don't know if that was a conscious effort on your part, but
absolutely
you're looking handsome. I need to zoom in a little bit more. The last thing is look at other channels and see what's working for them, especially when you're a niche type of content creator, or you don't compare yourself to every single channel. Compare yourself to other channels that have similar types of content and see what's working for them. But let's go ahead and jump right back into these slides. Jeremy, let's get into design secrets here.
Yes, awesome. So over the last 10 years, these are the designs that have really made the most impact. And it all starts with the 3 E's. The eyes, emotion, and excitement. And I'll be talking about eyes the whole time. They are very important because eyes connect people to a viewer. People don't want to click on something boring. So if you're just smiling and if you just have a great image, it's not good enough. You actually need to have the 3 E's, the eyes, excitement, and emotion. It's not enough to just do one of the 3. You really need a reason to click. So I did all the YouTube strategy for Funimation, the 2.6 million subscribers at this point. And what's interesting is animals and anime and cartoons all have the same philosophy. So eyes even work with animals. They even work with anime here. We tripled the size of their channel just by making their thumbnail game that much better. And if you really think about it, the thumbnail I just showed has excitement. It's crazy. You don't know what's happening, and it's gonna give someone a reason to click. Think of a thumbnail like a stop sign. The thumbnail isn't in itself going to be enough to click, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to stop on the right hand side when they're seeing all those other videos and look at your thumbnail and then read your title. So it's more of a stop sign than it is a clickable moment. It's going to get people to hopefully stop, read the title, and then make a decision if it's something they want to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So yeah, let's keep moving on here.
Yeah, and this is another example of a thumbnail with a good size face and the arrow. Benji, you guys on your wife's channel do a phenomenal job with arrows. And the thing about arrows is, yes, they're cheesy. However, when they're pointing to something, it works. Like it's giving someone a reason to think about clicking. And your job as a creator is to get someone a reason to click on your thumbnail. All right, the next thing I want to talk about are colorful backgrounds. So being the fact that your job is, it's not just your thumbnail. If you don't stand out from every single other channel, then how are people going to know who you are? So looking here, I can clearly see Think Media's channels and Brian G. Johnson here because of the colorful backgrounds. So you really want to not only have a colorful background, but you also want to use it in a perspective of like branding. So going to the next slide here, we here on VidIQ, we went from 148,000 subscribers 16 months ago when I started here to almost 370,000 subscribers today. And the one big thing we did is we changed our thumbnails. I would say that, we got 1% better on everything every week, but the one major thing we did differently that really took our channel from 100,000 subs to almost 400 in 16 months was thumbnails, and it's about the branding of the thumbnails. So if you have 5 thumbnails and they're all different from each other, how are people going to know it's your channel?
Yeah.
Right. So that's really hard.
Yeah. One thing I want to add here, Jeremy, just to give you guys kudos, obviously Sean and I here on Video Influencers, we work with VidIQ. One of the things I love about them is they have an amazing YouTube channel. So it's one thing to offer a tool, right? And be like the behind the scenes guys offering some kind of tech or some kind of, advanced tool that's going to help you with your channel. It's another thing to know how it's applied to YouTube videos. Even the fact that they're creating thumbnails and they're testing it and they're looking at their analytics, all this kind of like all relates to each other. So the fact that VidIQ is crushing it on YouTube should not only convince you guys that VidIQ is a great tool, but that the people there, they understand what you're going through. And this is why I really appreciate you, Jeremy, being on here, because I know that, there's a lot of experts out there that talk about what worked for them 10 years ago. You already know what worked for you 10 months ago isn't even enough. Like, you got to know what's working today. And this is another reason, in addition to the fact that we like to work with VidIQ and promote their tools, is the fact that they bring so much value to this community. And you've already seen, you're actually the third person from the VidIQ team that's been a live guest on here on Video Influencer. I just want to add that because, of course, I think a lot of people forget that. And especially because VidIQ, that's a brand, but there's real people behind the scenes putting up content on your channel.
Yeah, it's interesting. Most of our employees that are like the face of the company or on our YouTube channel have 40, 50, 100,000 views for their own,
That's
channels.
Awesome. Yeah.
And, I have millions of, or, dozens of millions of subscribers for my customers. I'm a shy guy, so I don't really care about being on the camera myself. But let's move on to these backgrounds. So this is Chad Wild Clay, and although he doesn't necessarily have the same color background all of the time, his face is always in there, so the branding is him, so it works perfectly. His wife did a a blog post on VidIQ recently talking about her philosophy of thumbnails, and it is phenomenal. Together, these guys have 13 million subscribers.
Dang.
So whether you like these thumbnails, think they're cheesy, it doesn't really matter. These things work like crazy. They are a phenomenal resource. Let's go to the next slide here. So Think Media, I really love how simplistic this is. I call this the hero shot. So sometimes, you know, it's all about you and your eyes, or your guests and your guest's eyes, but you really need to understand what your video is about. In this case, this video is not about Sean. This video is about this camera. So he, honestly, if he was even in this thumbnail, he would have to be the secondary behind, you know, the primary focus, which would be the camera.
Yeah.
So it's confusing, but just know whatever the hero is of that video should be the biggest and should have the most focus.
Totally.
All right, and going back into branding, want to show you our channel here, the VidIQ thumbnails. Now, our channel thumbnails are cheesy. You know, they're a little cartoony sometimes, and they're red, you know, and they're blue, but they are very consistent. And they work phenomenally. One of the reasons they work so well is because you know it's a VidIQ thumbnail. So when you click on it, you know what channel it's from. It's interesting. Some of our competitors are starting to copy us, so that's a flattering thing. I think that's really cool. And what we need to do now is up our game even further. So it's like a fun, nerdy game of just constantly getting better and standing out. And remember, this is the third time I've said this, your job as a video creator is to stand out from everyone else. So if your competition starts copying you, you got to keep on upping your game.
There you go. And it's only inevitable that people are going to copy you if things are going to work. Because, I mean, just what did I say about like 10 minutes ago? I told you guys, go look at channels that are working and just go ahead and copy them, because if it's working for them, it could work for you. One thing you got to always add in there, though, is your content still has to be good, right? Like a great thumbnail, just because it gets clicks through, doesn't mean it's going to get views. So I just want to add that. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in here.
Yeah, so I wanted to show you an example of a template I created for Gillette like 6 years ago. And a lot of people are like, oh, wow, thumbnails are now the most important thing. They've been the most important things for like a decade. So don't underestimate how important they've always been. At the time, we created a series of videos for Gillette, about 200 videos. They got 70 million, this series got 70 million views. The biggest viral video of all time from the Dollar Shave Club only got about 20 million views.
Wow.
And that company ended up selling for $1 billion.
Dang.
You know, it's pretty amazing. So this was my thumbnail 6 years ago, and you can see there's still a lot of similarities. My faces are sometimes bigger now. The the branding is going to be on the left-hand side because the right-hand side has the timestamp now. But what I was doing 6-7 years ago is pretty much what I'm doing now. And, you know, we're using science and multivariate testing to see what's working the best. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is when you make something the size of a postage stamp, when you make something really small, you're going to need to oversaturate that thing. So here's an example that I did for a Dragon Ball Z thumbnail. And in Photoshop or Canva or PicMonkey, you're going to want to bring in the midtones, highlights, and shadows and oversaturate that image by 30, 40, 50, 60%.
Yeah.
Travis, do you ever do that? Do you ever like make the colors richer?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it's so funny you mentioned that. My camera didn't work this morning, right? And I'm using my webcam. So literally, that was one of the first things Nice Chris told me. He's like, hey, you need to saturate the color and make it more poppy. But yes, we definitely do that on our thumbnails. In fact, I do it on my food channel as well, because when it's all said and done, you have to think about visually what will that look like next next to other people's thumbnails. Hopefully next to other people's crappier thumbnails, right? Like ones that aren't saturated. So absolutely, definitely do that.
And this next thumbnail I want to show you is the difference of 16 months ago at VidIQ versus now. So the top one here was what we were doing 16 months ago, and B is what we do today. Do you guys see really the power of the saturation there, the size of the face, the 3 E's: eyes, excitement, expression, emotion, engagement? And I mean, it's just day and night, even though it may seem pretty simple or common sense. This is the big disconnect I would see, in a lot of the channels that I've helped over the years. They typically have something like A and not B. Seeing that, hopefully that really helped you guys understand that the fine details of a thumbnail are everything. And the same with over sharpening. So when something goes big to the size of a thumbnail, you definitely need to oversaturate it and over sharpen it. And because of that, because you do that, when it's shrink down tiny, then it's going to look good. The next slide here is going to actually show you what it looks like before and after. So this is a video I did a few weeks ago on my channel, and the bottom right-hand side image is not manipulated at all. Do you see how blurry and non-colorful that is compared? So I use something in Photoshop called the high pass filter, and essentially instead of like sharpening the image, I just sharpen it in a really cool way to just over exaggerate it. If you looked at it really big, then you're going to notice it looks crazy. But when it's tiny, having it that intense actually really works, and it just pops over all of my competitors.
Yeah,
go ahead.
One thing I want to mention is one thing you kind of brushed over, but is so key, is the fact that this sharpening is not just helping the image overall, but specifically helping the image when it's very small. It's easy for us to design a thumbnail on a huge big screen monitor, right? But at the end of the day, it's on this phone that people see that. And it's so tiny. That thumbnail can be so tiny sometimes. Now, I know that, in the YouTube app, it shows up nice and big. But even then, I mean, it's like if I put my phone next to my computer screen, it's 1/10 the size. So one thing I always remind not just other people that watch this, but even myself and Nice Chris, when we're designing our thumbnails, is like, hey, let's look at it on our phone. And so I love this tip about over sharpening, because it is a practical thing that's really easy. It's an easy step, but some people might brush over it because, again, they're looking at it on this gigantic monitor. So, hey, if you guys are getting value out of this, I know I am. I'm learning a lot of stuff, new things. Hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment or a question, better yet, because Jeremy and I will be answering questions when it comes to thumbnails. By the way, Jeremy, I'm loving this content. I love all the visuals. Of course, we always bring value to our audience, but someone with your experience, it's amazing. So thank you very much. And we're going to go ahead and continue on. Jeremy, back to you.
All right, the next thing I want to talk about is visual storytelling. So you have the 3 E's: eyes, excitement, emotion, excitement. You have all of that. You have a background color that's consistent and has awesome branding. And now what you're going to do is you're also going to include a visual that tells the story of what your video is about. A lot of people put too much text on their thumbnails. And in fact, part of the research that we did, we found that less than 10 characters is optimal. 0 is best, but less than 10 is optimal. So try not to repeat the text of what's on your thumbnail with the title. That doesn't make any sense. What you're trying to do, again, is make the thumbnail a stop sign for get people to stop and see what the thumbnail is about. If a picture really is worth 1,000 words, then why don't you make a visual representation of what you wanted to put for text in your thumbnail? And in this case, the visual is text, maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense, but let me show you a few other examples. So on the next slide here, this is Answers with Joe. Joe started working with me when he had about 10,000 subscribers, and he just hit 500,000 subscribers last week. So proud of this guy. But look at, he has his branding, which is his face, and he tells visual stories of what his videos are about. The next slide shows Josh Horton, who also is about to hit 500,000 subscribers, which is really cool. And he is one of the world's best jugglers, and he's telling his stories not through text. He's telling it through complex visuals. And if you think about the example we showed earlier with Chadwell Clay, you can see a lot of the same similarities here with the action and the arrows and always having weird stuff happening in the background. There's a lot going on here, but for his demographic, these thumbnails work phenomenally. And one of the channels I help and I love, one of my favorite channels, I'm an old man skateboarder, so I skateboard every day, is Braille Skateboarding. And with my advice, they've really taken their channel to the next level. Benji, what do you think? Why do you think these thumbnails work so well?
Well, number one, like you said, it tells a story. It stands out. And I think behind the scenes, maybe what you can't see is they're taking time to create them. So one thing I can speak to is my wife still edits our vlogs, all of our vlogs, even with our big team and the support that we get. And obviously, I'm all about leveraging other people's skills and time. Judy still edits, but she also creates the thumbnails. So when she edits after 2 or 3 hours and uploads a video, she'll spend another 20, sometimes up to half an hour or 4 hour working on the thumbnail. And that's what I personally see. I see the effort behind the scenes that is maybe when you put it out and viewers see it, they don't think like, oh, wow, this is a dope thumbnail. They're thinking, wow, I want to click on this video. Or it's like, I wonder what happened. It's getting a reaction from the crowd. And this is the thing, no matter how great your title is, the title can kind of fall short for you if that visual isn't there. And that's personally what I see.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, continue on. The next thing I want to talk about is showing results. So let's say you do woodworking or you teach people how to do makeup or hair. Imagine if in the thumbnail was actually the before and after or the results themselves. So what people want is they want to know if your video is good enough to click on. And if they like the result of this braid, then you have a much higher probability of people clicking on it then you won't believe what the hair looked like, right? So it's visual, right? You have to tell the story. So having before and after shots for a lot, even programming, all kinds of things you can do this with is very powerful because people want to know where they're going to end up after they watch the video. So when it's possible, try to show the final shot of what's going to happen, what you're going to learn, what the entertainment's like. Maybe that's people laughing, right? So you can really think out of the box here, but what is the final result? If you're a comedian, don't show yourself, show people laughing. Totally. And then this next thumbnail here is a friend of mine doing it with Jason is his channel. And he's a woodworker, and he created a YouTube play button for Unspeakable. And the Unspeakable actually created a whole video on this when they got it in the mail. It's kind of cool. But imagine if he just showed a piece of wood or himself. It wouldn't make any sense here. But showing what the play button looked like out of wood makes a lot of sense.
Awesome.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, a lot of this stuff we've talked about on this channel. In fact, you can see we're utilizing these thumbnails. What I love about Jeremy's advice, and I'm glad that so many of you guys are loving this content, it's kind of digging into the framework and giving you guys actual actions to take when designing your thumbnails. Because I'll tell you this, Jeremy, this is a deepest we've ever dived into thumbnails. But again, it is so important because you could work hours and hours and hours creating an amazing video, editing for another couple of hours. You have the best clickbait title, and then you fall short on that thumbnail. And again, that thumbnail tells everything about your video. And if they don't click through, then there's no point. And so that one more thing that I want to mention too is we talk about one of the most important analytics being the click-through rate, right? The rate at which people click through onto your videos. And thumbnails is the thing, I think, that's going to get people to click. Obviously, the title is complementary to it and it kind of works together. But that's just what I want to add here because, again, this is amazing content and value. And you guys, hit that like button.
Yeah, thank you. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is what Travis was talking about earlier, or Benji, excuse me.
Suck it.
I'm tired. Just saw. Anyways, designing small. So you can actually see what I'm looking at in Photoshop on the left-hand side here looks awesome. But when I scale it down, tiny as a postage stamp, what does it look like? So our recommendation is actually for you to design in Photoshop or Canva or PicMonkey, like make sure that you're squeezing it down that tiny to make sure that it looks the way you want it to look. And the next thing I want to talk about when I'm talking about typography and text is giving someone a reason to click on your thumbnails. I think this is a perfect example of a thumbnail that I would click on. Yeah. So Toyota lied. I'm probably going to click on that because it's not a repeat of the title. It's actually giving me a reason to stop and, oh, what did they lie about? You know, people love curiosity. So instead of just adding why Toyota did not deliver on their promise, you know, whatever the title is, Toyota lied's pretty powerful. Yeah. Just don't clickbait. So as long as it delivers and Toyota really lied, it's not clickbait. But if it doesn't deliver, then obviously you're just scamming people, and never do that on a thumbnail. But do give them a reason to click. As long as you deliver, it's fine. So the summary of design secrets for you guys is consider the 3 E's, use colorful backgrounds, be consistent, over sharpen, over saturate, use visuals. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, use visuals, not text when possible. Show your results, design small, and give reasons to click on your thumbnails.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to a few people. Crystal says, I send my thumbnails to my phone to see how it looks. That's awesome. And that's exactly what you need to do. In fact, that like as we're designing thumbnails, that's what I'm doing. Asking them to be sent to my phone because I want to see what you guys are experiencing on your end. A really basic piece of advice I give to beginners is whenever you're doing anything from creating the video to the thumbnail, you need to put yourself in the shoes of the person, or maybe in the computer seat of the person, or in these days anywhere with a phone, of the person using the YouTube app, right? Going on youtube.com, and what is their experience like? If you don't remember that and you don't actually go through that practice, a lot of your work will have been wasted. So again, you mentioned it twice already, Jeremy. Thank you, because it's so important to minimize, or like really adjust the size and get it to the literally almost the extreme smallest. Because again, what you're looking at when you're creating this great content is not what people are going to consume it. The one thing I want to mention, you guys, we are going to be taking some questions. So make sure you leave your questions in the chat area, or if you're watching this afterwards, put it in the comments area because we like to dive in deep. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up? I know we have one more section coming up, Jeremy.
Yeah, I just want to do one thing from that other section, and that is on slide 47, if you don't mind going there real quick. Yeah. So everyone talks about click-through rate, but almost everyone is pretty, I'm not going to say wrong, but I'm going to say they're misinformed on how it all works. Yeah. If you have a video that has a 6.7% click-through rate, that's great. If it has 5 views, that may not be a good representation. If
Mhm.
you have a video that gets 100% of its views from search, that click-through rate is going to be a lot different than if it's from suggested, or if another YouTube channel shared it in their community tab. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go through the click-through sources and actually see what your click-through rates are for each individual thing. So external sources, browse, YouTube, channel pages, suggested, it's all going to be different. So until you dive this deep into your click-through rates to understand how you're really performing, I don't think you're going to get a good, clear picture just saying, hey, what's your click-through rate? Because it doesn't make any sense. Every single discoverability thing that happens on YouTube has different rates of conversion.
Absolutely. By the way, I want to give a shout out to a super chat. I believe Ace Lucero. Nice, Chris. Is that it? Ace Lucero, thank you so much for the super chat. As you guys know, we appreciate your support. And if you guys leave a super chat with a question, we usually prioritize those. But we'll go ahead and get back into it. Jeremy, where do you want to pick up from here? Because I know you have a whole bunch of other slides. By the way, you guys, this is a presentation that Jeremy gave at VidCon, standing room only. People were trying to bang down the doors, and so I love that we're able to have Jeremy on here and teaching you guys about this, because obviously it's not just you, it's other people. They understand that this is a big deal, so you got to spend some time on your thumbnails and almost treat it like the video itself. So you got to learn a little bit of thing. One thing I want to add here is a free tool. My wife, who is the superstar of my life in terms of just like generally, but also on YouTube, uses a free website called PicMonkey. Okay, just Google PicMonkey, picmonkey.com, I believe, completely free, and that's what she uses after doing this for 10 years. So don't discount free tools, and don't discount the things that we're talking about, because a lot of the functions, in fact, I don't know if what software you were using on there, but it didn't seem like it was super advanced. What was that you were using, Jeremy?
I use Photoshop, but I
Okay.
also use PicMonkey and Canva as well.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and jump back into, where do you want to jump into in terms of the slides, Jeremy?
You know, we could keep on going in slides, or we could answer more questions. It's up to you. If we were
Cool.
going to go to slides, I would like to. If we're going to go to slides, I'd like to go to slide 51. Otherwise, we can just ask for
Sweet.
questions, whatever you want to do.
No, let's go to slide 51. There you go.
All right. So here's the deal. A lot of people don't actually think that Google and YouTube knows what is in your thumbnail, and you're wrong. So this is Google's Cloud API, Google Cloud Vision. And essentially, you can upload any image from Google or YouTube, and it's going to tell you a lot of crazy stuff. If you go to the next slide, it'll tell you if someone's angry or surprised. It'll tell you if, you know, if it's a face or an expression or a chin. It'll even tell you if it's a close-up shot or not. And the next slide, it even shows you if you have text and what the text says. So it's actually doing OCR, and it actually pulls out logos and text from your image. So to imagine that YouTube or Google, like, you can get away with something, you can't. They are analyzing everything. They're analyzing every second of audio. They're analyzing every frame in your video, and they're analyzing your actual image from your thumbnail. Now, I'm not saying that YouTube does this every single time or every day right now. We don't know, but they have the technology to do it. So I would make sure that you design your thumbnails in a capacity that you understand that YouTube can see what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. I think this is a great point that rarely gets brought up generally, especially with beginners, because they might not understand this. YouTube's algorithm and the artificial intelligence is really powerful. It's making it easier for you to be content creators. But what you're doing when you're creating these amazing videos and you're putting up thumbnails with all these visual cues is you're giving it more data. one thing I'll tell you, one of the reasons they have this is for safety. They cannot manage all the videos that are being thrown at them. So out of necessity, they needed technology that helps them pick out what's inside the videos, what's in the thumbnails. But also the benefit is they're able to know and understand more what that video stands for. And why this is important is because YouTube is determining what is the best video for that viewer. So the more accurate your thumbnail is, and this is why you have to get into the psychology of the image, not just the visual itself, because that can all determine if YouTube thinks it's going to be a good video. Anything else you want to add, Jeremy, or anything you want to maybe comment on what I just said, and then we can move into talking about video marketing world.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So one more thing I want to mention, guys, video marketing world. I will be there. Sean will be there. As you guys can see, a lot of other amazing speakers. You can learn a lot. Jeremy, you want to speak to that promo code right there?
Sure. So if you go to videomarketing.world and you type in this 100-off, you'll get $100 off. I think tickets are only like $200 or $300 right now. Compared to the other conferences. It's very, very affordable. Dallas is, 2 or 3 hour flight from anywhere in America, just about.
Totally.
And it's pretty affordable. The hotels are only like $99 a night. So, compared to some places in California or New York, our conference is really affordable. What I love about it is it's purposely small. So we're only going to have 400 attendees. That includes all the speakers and the sponsors. We're keeping this small because I don't know about you, Benji, but when I go to a small conference like ClamorCon, I just love it. I think that there's some magic there. When the first year Tim Schmoyer had a conference, there were 20 people. Myself, Tim, and Daryl spoke to these 20 people. And I would say 10 of those 20 people are lifetime friends now. I'm a big believer of small, intimate settings to where you can really spend a lot of time getting to know Benji, getting to know Sean and Roberto Blake and all of these amazing people in our industry.
Absolutely. So like Jeremy mentioned, you get to meet an amazing amount of people there because of the I guess the atmosphere that's there. It's not just about listening to the speakers, it's about telling stories and sharing tips and what's working for you guys. Obviously, Sean and I will be there. But hold up, you guys, do not leave yet because we are going to be answering some questions when it comes to thumbnails. Now, I believe the team has a question. So are you ready, Jeremy, for the question?
I'm ready.
All right. So Mr. Chetri says, I have a question. How can we combine title and thumbnails together? I'm guessing in terms of like the visuals, anything you want to say to that? I think you kind of spoke to that a little bit.
Yeah. Could you actually go to YouTube and type in, "This is not yellow"?
Okay, for sure. And you want me to show it on the screen?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me do that real quick here while I get that ready, you guys. Jeremy, anything else you want to say? This is not yellow, you said?
Yeah. So when he shows that on the screen,
Okay,
what you're going to see is you're just going to see a yellow box. So, and what's interesting about that is this is my favorite thumbnail of all time. Believe it or not, a yellow box is my favorite thumbnail of all time.
Oh, that's funny.
And the reason,
let's see what the video is
it says this is not yellow, but you're looking at yellow. Now, it's not clickbait because the way our brains process color it's yellow's not actually yellow, but because the thumbnail and the title combination is so powerful, I think this is the perfect example of showing the combination.
Yeah.
And instead of thinking of it as like a combination, think of it as the thumbnail is the stop sign that gets people to then read the title. So it should be complimentary. But yellow box, my favorite thumbnail of all time.
There you go. Actually, I like that too. That's cool. I'm going to use that maybe in the future as a good, and it's got a lot of views, right? So obviously it is working or something about it. Is there any more questions? Let's see. I'd say like my question for you that I get often from our viewers, Jeremy, is what advice would you give somebody that's literally just starting out today, that's brand new to YouTube, has no experience? Hopefully, they've been listening to this whole thing, or you guys rewind and listen and take action on the lessons that you've learned today. But any advice you'd want to give to somebody that has no experience when it comes to YouTube or creating thumbnails?
It's kind of crazy. I literally like an hour ago posted a video on my channel, just youtube.com/Jeremy Best. And it is actually how to start a YouTube channel, the 10 tips. I worked with a guy named Roger Wakefield. He is a plumber. And in the last year, he's got 5,000 subscribers for a plumbing YouTube channel. And we actually break down my 10 steps to starting and growing a YouTube channel. And it's really detailed, but essentially I would say that you need to understand what you're super, and that means just what you enjoy, but what were you put on earth to do? Were you put on earth to entertain people? Were you put on earth to, teach someone something specific? And then understand your messaging, like what is it about YouTube that you can help people with, and understand your messaging. And then from there, getting down to your niche. You need in 2019 to be the underwater basket weaver of YouTube. With 500 hours uploaded every minute, you really need to actually be able to talk to a specific group of people. Fishing in the ocean is hard, but fishing in a barrel is easy. So know your audience and niche down even farther than people are niching down now. If you're going to go create how to make YouTube tips, I would actually make a YouTube channel on how to do custom thumbnails, right? So focus on what people want and niche down. That would be my biggest advice.
Boom. Jeremy, thank you so much. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did share a little bit about your channel as you were talking. I showed the video you were talking about. We'll definitely put the links below, but easily spelled Jeremy Vest, V-E-S-T, on YouTube, and it's the first channel that pops up. I highly recommend going checking that out. Also, thank you to our sponsor, VidIQ, of course. We love working with you, Jeremy, and the whole team at VidIQ. And of course, it's an amazing tool that's going to be complementary to your YouTube browsing session. The way I like to describe it is it's an easy way to consume data that might be scary for a newbie, right? And just consume it very quickly. In fact, there's like information that you used to be able to see back in the day that now is hidden from the viewer that vidIQ is bringing back in front of you. So that's awesome. Let me actually say thank you to VerTV for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. What would you suggest for travel videos? That was a question. When it comes to thumbnails, right? I'll tell you this. Again, think of what is the purpose of your video? Are you entertaining people? Are you teaching them about a location? Are you trying to inspire them to go to a place? Whatever that is, makes you think about that psychology of what you're trying to accomplish for the viewer and apply that in your thumbnail. In addition to that, try to really think of like what is like a travel location. What is the one thing in that place that represents that location more than anything? So for here, Seattle, it's easy. Do you know what when you think of Seattle, Jeremy, what's the one thing that comes? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The Space Needle?
The Space Needle, right? So the other thing that people would say is maybe Starbucks, but no, I was thinking the Space Needle too. So that's a visual thing. But again, there's so many things. Anything else that you want to speak on in terms of that question, Jeremy?
No, I agree with photography. One, I would say study Peter McKinnon. His channel is his thumbnails are probably some of the best in the world. Two, I would say it is about the hero. So I think the biggest mistake for travel channels make in general with thumbnails is they may show a beach, but they're not talking about a beach, right? So they're trying to show pretty stuff. So if it's about the Space Needle, why is your face going to be on it? Right. So understand what the video is about so you can make the image the hero should be what it is. So the Space Needle should be the actual focus of your thumbnail, not you, if you're talking about the Space Needle.
Absolutely. Oh, one more thing I want to mention here. Actually, nice, Chris brought it up when you were talking about the whole whites of the eyes or a big face. In fact, one of the number one successful channels right now in terms of views is David Dobrik, and I actually just pulled it up right here. As you can see, look at his face. It's blown up. It's funny, I didn't even notice it. I don't really watch his content, but obviously there's so much more going on with David Dobrik than just the thumbnail. But his face is extremely big. And it's actually something I think has set him apart from other vloggers, if you can call him a vlogger. He's more of a comedian, I think. But this information is not hypothetical. It's not theoretical. It is actually working for people. So one more thing I want to add, you guys. We always tell you about VidIQ. Of course, there is this free 30-day trial. Just go to vidiq.com/influence. Highly recommend it. I know we've been talking about a few different things. Anything you want to add in terms of VidIQ, since this is sponsored by VidIQ, you're on the VidIQ team, in terms of what people can expect when they're using this tool.
Yeah, the thing I would say is our tag recommendation engine, in my opinion, some of the best software out there for YouTube creators. I think it's really awesome. But one thing a lot of people don't know about us is we have this thing called a channel audit tool. And essentially what that does, I don't know if you have a second to pull that up or not.
I will.
That's
Go ahead.
up to you. But I'll talk about it while you're pulling it up. The thing about it is it's really cool because it shows you how you're doing month over month. It shows you what's working. So imagine if your goal was to get more watch time or more views or more subscribers. You can see the last 20 videos of what 20 videos are driving the most subscribers to your channel. And then you could go double down on that type of content and make more videos of that type of content specifically that's driving the most subscribers. You can also see what's doing the worst to not do that type of content again. And you can actually see what's broken. So are you missing tags, titles, end screens? And it'll actually pull up a list of every video that's missing a card, for example, and you can go fix that. So it shows how are you doing, what's working, what you should do more of, what's not working, what you should do less of, and what you need to fix. In my opinion, that's one of the most powerful video marketing pieces of software in the world.
Yeah, actually, I haven't actually used my channel in a while, so I'm not doing so well. But speaking to that, you can see obviously views per hour. These are some of the top videos here on the right side. Subscribers gained. This is my food channel. But yes, this is a powerful tool that I think a lot of people don't know about. Jeremy, anything else you want to add in terms of a VidIQ or the channel audit?
Yeah, if you go to the very bottom of this, you'll
Yep.
see that if you're missing any tags, titles, I guess it's not working right now. Maybe it's just the live stream, but you'll actually see what's missing. That's pretty cool. And another thing, we just added this new feature that actually shows how your video is doing compared to all other videos on the scorecard. So you definitely want to check that as well.
For sure. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, Jeremy. I've known you, at least a few years now. And obviously your name has been in the industry for much longer than I've known you. So I really appreciate your experience, your expertise, the lessons when it comes to thumbnails. Again, if you guys got value out of this, I know that if you guys are serious about thumbnails, that this stuff will help you. Hit that like button, leave a comment with additional questions. We'll try to jump into it. Jeremy, I don't know if you have time, but oftentimes the comments after the video or the broadcast turns into a video are going to be about thumbnails, I'm sure. But last thing I want to mention, you guys, YouTube Secrets is out. Been out for a while now, actually doing really well, bestseller on Amazon. One thing Sean said was a huge compliment. People are surprised that YouTube Secrets is still out on the lists, that it's still doing really well. And so one thing I want to say to that, obviously the audiobook is out now on Audible. We wrote this book for you guys so that it would be a timeless piece on your bookshelf, something you could read today or 5 years from now. Now, YouTube's always changing, but if you guys haven't picked it up, go ahead and click the link down below. Leave us an Amazon review. But Jeremy, I love the inspiring moment you had a little bit earlier. So leave us with some motivation, some inspiration, or maybe a story, because I think that's part of what you do that a lot of people don't get to see. And this is your moment to get someone pumped up about YouTube and about spreading their passion on this platform with online video.
So if you're serious, if you really actually want to do well with video, you just need habits. You need the mindset that's actually going to get you there. And I love Roger Wakefield. If you want to follow his channel, it's just The Expert Plumber. He's just a plumber. He literally, I had a flood in my house a few months ago, and he just got down, like, dug a hole, and, he's a plumber. He's a phenomenal master plumber, but he's a plumber. And I was able to help him get to 5,000 subscribers in a year.
That's awesome.
What does he have that you don't have? Tenaciousness. The fact that he, in his mind, is already a 1 million subscriber channel. He is not going to give up. He's going to keep on going every single week, whether he's sick, whether he has the flu, whether he feels good or bad about it. He's not going to worry about what other people think. He's not going to give a crap about the YouTube algorithm, because he'll just jump on LinkedIn or he'll jump on Instagram. He doesn't care about a specific platform. He cares about actually helping people become plumbers. He cares about helping plumbers do better with plumber marketing. And if you take that mindset, if you take the mindset of, I'm worth 1 million subscribers, I can do this, but I may not be there yet. I'm going to get 1% better every single week, and I'm just going to keep on going. All the YouTubers I know with, hundreds of thousands of subscribers are no better than I am. They may be prettier, they may have a better stage presence, but think about this. Even if you're shy, there's 1 million shy people out there. What if you could speak to your people, your tribe? That's the thing a lot of people don't understand, is there's people just like you. And you may not be the prettiest or the skinniest or the fattest. Who knows? You may not be what you want to be, but there's people just like you that you can reach, and you can build a tribe of people. But it all takes turning on the camera. Yeah. So stop watching us every single week, or watch us every single week, but also turn on the camera. So it's not just about application. You actually have to do it. It's not just about technique and making it better. Just do it. Get 1% better every single week, and you got this.
I don't know about you, but that makes me want to hit that like button. I love the example, Jeremy. I did show Roger's channel. And so what I love about his channel, typically when you think plumbing on YouTube, is teaching about plumbing, which he may do, but the video I just happened to click on was tips for other plumbers. And that's amazing that Roger is putting out content for his tribe. We're not talking about people that need a tutorial on to do something. Don't get me wrong, maybe he is doing that, but he is using his channel. That was just one of the videos that got the most views, to reach out to other plumbers. And you just never know. If you've done anything for a extensive amount of time, you've got experience on something very specific, whether a hobby, a passion, in an industry, or you're just really, really passionate, energetic, excited about something. There's other people in this world filled with, I think, almost 7 billion people that you can connect with. 2 billion are actively on YouTube right now. There's 4 billion waiting for internet connection, or to, maybe communism to release YouTube to the Chinese people. But when all this happens, and this is what I'll tell you, even though we just wrote this YouTube Secrets, online video and social media, it's not going away. So everything that you're doing here on this platform one day will be transferable to other technologies. And to piggyback on what you said, like just turn on that camera, start talking, start improving, learn all these techniques. There's a billion videos out there for you guys to watch to do this. You know, when I first started, I was thinking about this when I was running. You couldn't type in how to make a thumbnail. That wasn't even a thing that people did. I don't know who the first YouTube expert was. I remember Tim, for me, right, was the first person. And I remember when his channel came out, I thought it was something YouTube did. Like it was YouTube channel. So that's what it was back in the day, and people became successful without it. So today, people are having success even earlier, even faster. It's crazy. People are doing laps around me, right? Even Sean and I were like, dang, I didn't even know channels like this existed. So thank you, Jeremy, for your time. Again, we'll put all the links to Jeremy's channels, to VidIQ. Make sure you, if you want to sign up for VidIQ, use the discount code. Click the link down below. Obviously, I'll see you guys in Dallas. Video Marketing World. If you just Google Video Marketing World, the one in Dallas will be there. It is August 22nd to the 24th.
23rd.
23rd.
Yeah, 23rd, 24th.
23rd, 24th. We will see you. You guys, as always, we're helping build an influence, income, impact with online videos. I'll talk to you later.